All right, let's begin with Vue-3, PrimeVue-3, and Composition API. In this one, I will first create an application with Vue-CLI, add PrimeVue, and finally convert the default app implementation to a Composition API and add some, PrimeVue components like button, input text, and toast. First, we will need Vue-CLI. If you don't have it, it's easy to install. Just go to the Vue-CLI website, cli.vue.js.org. And there will be a getting started section and the instant prototyping. You will see the commands npm install, and if you are using Yarn, that's available as well. Guess what? I have it already installed. By the way, I don't know how to pronounce Vue. It could be Vue, I don't know. So I'm just going to call it Vue. So let's begin. I'm just going to my desktop and I will initiate a new project called PrimeVue test. Now it's just asking me to pick some presets. I'm not going to use Vue 2 and I'm not interested in manual selecting features. I need something quick, so I'm just going to choose the default preview version. And while the npm is installing the internet, I'll just talk about PrimeVue briefly. So the PrimeVue is a UI component library for Vue. It's a sibling of the Prime family of UI libraries that also has Prime Faces, PrimeNG, and Prime React. Prime Faces is for Java Surfaces, PrimeNG is for Angular, and Prime React is for, guess what, React. So PrimeVue shares the same DNA with its siblings. We have around more than 80 components, panels, data components, messages, a lot of form components. The main difference between PrimeVue and other libraries is that it's design agnostic. So you will probably see this also applies to Angular, React, and other frameworks as well. So you will see that usually the UI libraries pick something like Material, Bootstrap, Tailwind, Vue. What was that? Vue-Cli? I'm not sure. Bulma, sorry. Bulma. Semantic, a lot of CSS frameworks. But in our case, we implement our own CSS that helps us to come up with our own themes. So it's quite flexible. You can have Material themes, Bootstrap themes, Fluent UI for Microsoft. You can come up your own themes easily because we have a theme designer. There are premium. If you like to have something done by professional designers, you can also use the Vue-CLI templates of PrimeVue, and so on. So today, let's get into it. Just a little bit tutorial, and after this tutorial, we can just explore the PrimeVue ecosystem later. So I have my project here. I'm just going to open my VS Code. Let's go to the desktop and PrimeVue test. Let's check this application out. We have the source here, just logo for Vue, and the components, hello world. I'm not going to use it actually. And app.vue, it's using the options API. And the main.js. This create app thing is something new in Vue 3. It was before just a global Vue instance, but now it's all functional. So let's run this by running npm run ser. Okay. Here we go. Welcome to your Vue.js app, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into the components yet, so I'm just going to delete this. And at AppView, this one as well, hello world is gone completely. Okay. So let's add PrimeVue and let's just remove this logo as well. And the logo is gone because the template requires a child element. I'm just going to put a simple div. Okay. So let's go to the PrimeVue website. Here, let's check out the getting started. So of course, we just need to install it and then import the PrimeVue plugin and use it. That means PrimeVue will be installed. And then once it is installed, we are just going to use what we need and then configure that. So let's go through this step by step. I'm just going to call npm install. Let me just stop this. Okay, npm install PrimeVue. Well, you know what? It's the latest version anyway right now, so I'm just going to install PrimeVue. And also PrimeVue uses Prime icons, Prime Text own UI icon library, so you cannot find it anywhere. We are not going third-party library like Font Awesome. Our design team has created our own icons. So let's install it as well. Okay. So PrimeVue CSS, we need 3 CSS files. The first is the theme. PrimeVue has a lot of themes, Bootstrap themes. They're all free and open source. Material themes, Material Dark, Fluent UI, our own Prime One themes, Soho, Mira, and Nano for if you have the designer, and some legacy themes as well. I'm just going to use default one, Sega Blue. This one is the PrimeVue.min.css is just some core simple CSS files, nothing big, just some shared CSS plus the icons. So let's just copy this one. Okay, where to import it? I mean, you can import it in your main, you can import it in your app. Main is one place. Import PrimeVue core CSS and import icons. All right. Now that's these are for the general configuration. If you're going to use a buttons CSS will be added dynamically because the PrimeVue components add their own CSS. So right now I don't have any components, but I just need to use, let's say, PrimeVue from PrimeVue/config. And I just need to, let's say, const app is create app.use PrimeVue. So this part is important. So this will just add the PrimeVue namespace to your project, and so that you can access the PrimeVue APIs from your application instance easily. This really removes some boilerplate. This is new stuff in 3.1. And the other thing is that with PrimeVue 3.1 we have a new local API, so that the all components can be translated and localized from a single configuration. That also can be used from the application, and some boilerplate setup stuff. Okay, let's also add button from PrimeVue/button. So you don't need to memorize this. If you're going to use button, let's go to the button, and you can just see that at the beginning of the documentation says that you need to import it like this. Of course, these are default exports, so you can just give any name you like my button or whatever. After that, let's remove the semicolons anyway to be consistent. So app is there and app.components. So let's, for consistency, use install PrimeVue here and then app.components. So this is the name you'd like to use. Of course, it can be anything. I like to use this case and input text. And okay, also have button. Okay, so we have application instance here, and then the PrimeVue configuration. Two components that I'm going to use are CSS files, the theme, the core, and the icons. I create my application, I install PrimeVue, add two components, and mount the application. Here, now I can use, let's say, input text, we model text, and a button. Let's say label greet. And let me just remove the V model right now. Just want to see how the components are looking. Okay, this looks good. Let's try to run this. npm run serve, fingers crossed. Just checking if I missed anything. I don't think so, so let's run it. Okay. Yay. So this is the PrimeVue input text, and this is my greet button. Of course, doing nothing right now. You know, there is this, let's say, I'm just going to use the options API to begin with. Let's call it PrimeVue. Right. And also text here with the V model. Text there. Hello. Okay. Now, there's a component called toast so that you can display some messages. Let's try to install it. It works a little bit different. Import toast from PrimeVue toast. This is a component. To access it, I need to use a toast service. Let's go to the PrimeVue, and you will see the toast here. So I'd like to show you this one. So installation is like toast service. The toast depends on MIT, a small event bus, because we were using the Vue instance as an event bus, but due to the migration of Vue-Cli, the version 3 doesn't have any event bus due to this functional programming nature. So the suggestion is to use a third-party event bus. Right now, we've quickly selected MIT, but we may come up with our own event bus in the future. So right now, let's install it. It's a small 200 bytes of just a couple of lines of code, actually. So, okay, let's also use the toast service. So the toast service is a plugin so that I can call the toast from anywhere in my application. Okay. So I have installed the component, configured that, and imported the service and configured that as well. So here comes the fun part. All right. So here, I'm just going to first let's add an icon. Okay, so let's remove this one and add a method. Okay, so this is the Vue application instance. Here I have PrimeVue and the toast. So here's my message. Let's call it severity info and summary hello, and the detail would be this dot text. The next part is adding a click event handler. Okay. Hello, Prime. There's everything is text aligned, so messing up my. Okay. So looks good. Now I'm going to try to change it to composition API. The template stays the same. So let's import define component. I'm just going to, yeah, let's, maybe I can just comment it, right? So that you can compare. Okay, export default define component. There's the famous setup function. And here I have, let's say, text is prime return text, and let's call it greet. And nothing else. Let's just, doesn't do something yet. Okay, and you know, it also won't write it to my text at the Vue model because this is not reactive. To make it reactive, you need to use ref. Now it's reactive, right? Okay, so with composition API, you know, I can access the toast from the application instance. Notice that there's a this dot dollar toast. Now, there's no this in functional programming. There's no this here. So how to access it? Well, similar to how Vue gets you these, you know, functions, we have import use toast from PrimeVue use toast, and constant toast is use toast. So here I have imported toast and have an access to it using the use toast. I can just use this part, and I just need to remove the this keyword because there's no this here, and that one. Let's see if that will work. Toasts and toasts. Okay. Composition. PrimeVue. Yay. Now, different approaches, right? One is using, you know, the more object-oriented options API. The other is using the composition API. So, I mean, it's a kind of matter of preference. Depends on which programming technique you like. If you just like everything in place, you may go with the options API. If you just like to use the you know, importing things, don't need to deal with this keyword. if you're using TypeScript, the functional programming, the composition API will be a real saver, because you don't need to worry about the types of this and so on. But I hope that this tutorial was really helpful. I tried to show you how to use PrimeVue, or to get started with PrimeVue, and we created a sample and converted that to the composition API. So thanks for joining me, and see you in the future tutorials. Bye.